All right. So I believe it's live on Facebook. I don't know which group. It may be the Women Real Estate group, but I can post it in another one later.
Oh, yeah, let me see.
Awesome.
And I believe Misty is signed on. So she's waiting for her husband to come and get her so she can go take her car to the shop. So
That's funny. I just picked up my car from the shop.
I haven't used my car in like 2 months now.
Right?
I use it to
gas in my car.
I filled it up like a couple of days ago and I hadn't filled it up for a long time. Oh, Misty says, hi, ladies. Thanks so much for doing this.
Hi, Misty.
All right. So, you know what? All right. So it's already recording and it's going live, but I just my whole thoughts for doing this was because for the last at least 2 weeks, probably 3, I feel like I've just been floating. Like I'm not getting anything done. I don't even know what day it is. And it's exhausting. And so what I did was I started reaching out to y'all and looking for someone that could give me some guidance because there are people out there being productive right now. I just wasn't one of them. And so like after talking to after talking to a few of y'all, I realized that part of it was because I wasn't making a lot of decisions the evening before for the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And so like once I started doing that, like Wednesday was amazing, but it took so much effort to be productive that Thursday I was just dead. And that was that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put makeup on, I'm gonna fix my hair. And I kind of took care of a few things that afternoon, but I think that there has to be some tricks out there that I am missing. And I know, Sandhya, you were like, these are crazy times, give yourself grace. But there are so many people who are still out there killing it right now.
Yes. And that's okay because you have to follow your pace and your path and when it makes sense. And you're going to have the super productive day when everyone else is just like hanging out and goofing off. So it's give yourself some grace because these times are different. But at the same time, set some things in your path so that it'll force you to have a sense of productivity. And one thing I do is I set up appointments. So let's say next Tuesday is completely blank on my calendar. I'm going to fix about 2 or 3 appointments just to force me to have a sense of purpose and a focus. So for example, I'll at least do a Calendly and try to talk to 2 people I haven't talked to in a while. So at a minimum, I'll try to do that. Okay, that's a very simple thing I would do. Another thing I would do is I have some fitness friends, kind of the Pili kind of people who are just gung-ho and who will be fit no matter what and exercise. So I'll try to say, okay, can we sign up for a 30-minute session with you? You know, I have one friend who's all about yoga, another one who lifts weights, etc. I'll say, I need 30 minutes of your time on this particular day, whichever day that is. So that again gets me focused on something that is my weakness, you know? So I try to do that. My kids, of course, always give me focus because they are still online schooling. So it kind of gets me a feel for a weekday versus a weekend, right? So I do have a sense of today's Tuesday or today's Friday. And so this stuff is due on this day. So I kind of have that to keep me focused. And then I have my weekly calls, right? I have certain routine weekly calls I attend no matter what. A lot of them tend to be in the evenings. These evening webinars are getting increasingly popular. So my weeknights are totally booked. But then even on weekdays, we have our weekly property management calls. This is a very busy day and Monday too because of rent being due, etc. So when you have things already set up, just like you would when things were running normally 3 months ago, this is a weekday, this is what I do. You kind of try to put those things into your calendar anyway, even if they're virtual, and that'll give you a sense of focus. But please, the others chime in.
Well, that was one of the things I did was I just said, you know, I've got to give my day some structure. And so I started signing up for webinars. And that got me into a position where I was like, oh, well, this time is blocked out. This time is blocked out. I still need to take care of this and this. Where am I going to fit it in?
In between the two. In between the webinars. So don't sign up for so many that you don't have time for yourself, and kind of do it to where Okay, last week I attended a webinar on this topic. I don't need to do the same topic again this week, but this one is really new and I want to see what this person has to say, or I need to watch the recording while I'm doing something else, which is whether it's a workout or whether it's catching up on something else.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so like some of the, I guess, commonalities between the people that I contacted are, y'all seem really well put together. Like as far as like with what you're accomplishing. You can shake your heads no. I'm as a very unorganized, unproductive person. I sit back and I'm like, oh.
Okay,
So like
I'm gonna jump in. So the only reason why I am slightly put together is because I live my life by a schedule. I have to. I am so like in real life, in my head, I am so daydreamy. I have so many ideas. I have so many things that I want to do. But as soon as I had kids, I was like, wow. Like all of a sudden, like I couldn't. Like I remember after my first was born, I was just like, I don't know how to do all the things and get all the things done and do it all. And somebody introduced me to scheduling and time blocking. And for everyone that's listening to this, read the 12-Week Year by Brian Moran. Read The One Thing by Gary Keller. Yes. I'm sure you're bringing up all the. I think I have The One Thing here.
I don't have The One Thing, but I probably
One
have
Thing
some of the other
by
ones.
Gary Keller.
One
Thing by Gary Keller. And I'm reading. Why am I blanking on this book? Because I'm reading it right now. Oh my goodness, my head. But those are the two books that I basically live my life by. But the thing is, have the schedule in place, put all the things down, time block everything, to family time, to when you're homeschooling, to all the hours, and then make sure you read it at night and then look at it again in the morning, and then have it posted someplace where you can look at it. But unless it's something like a Zoom call, or like, for instance, this, if, for instance, you don't get to all of your child's lessons that day, or you need to cancel on karate, or you need to cancel a Zoom call, you give yourself grace. Or if you completely forget, it's like written down, and I know you ladies do this who schedule. You completely forget to go on that Zoom call, or you forget to do something. Give yourself grace. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world if you don't get to everything you put your mind to. Can I share something? Can I screen share something?
Absolutely.
Awesome. I'm going to share my screen right now. Let's go on my desktop. Why isn't it going? There we go. Haha. Move this. You all don't want to see the whole Zoom screen. So here is my school day for the kids. If you look at this, I have a ton of stuff on here. I will give you the link to this. Anybody is welcome to take a look at this, copy it. I've become like homeschool teacher of the year, mama of the year. I love it. I know a lot of mamas out there are like probably like jaw dropping right now, like what? But I actually love homeschooling my kids. Yes, I would love it if we could have like trips to gymnastics or soccer or baseball or all these things that we could do, or even having like a couple of hours just so I can do things without the kids. But that's not life right now. So that's not something I can change. I can control how I live my day. So this is how I have it set up with the kids. So the next thing I'm going to share with you is my 12-year. This is basically my blank scorecard. Don't pay attention to anything that's here, because this is not how I live my life right now. But the one I do have, the one that's actually filled out, I have all my goals down. I have the actionable steps that'll take me to those goals. And all of this stuff, all the stuff you see week 1, week 2, week 3, you mark it off as it gets done, and it's quantifiable by the end of the quarter. So you can see if you didn't get to your goal, chances are, and this has happened to me before, it's because you're like 50% here, 70% here. Those things that I did my actionable steps every day and I was 90% and above, I reached that goal. So those are just 2 things that I use to live my life. I'm going to reiterate though, I'm not a scheduling person. I never used to be. I had to become one when I had children.
How old are your kids?
5, 3, and 1.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So had to schedule.
So did you make that scorecard or did you get it from somewhere?
So I'm going to give the credit to Steven Pesavento. He was a friend of mine. We were part of the 7-figure flipping crew back in the day. He's still part of the group. I am no longer flipping home, so I couldn't be really a part of 7-figure flipping. But I'm like such great friends with all of them. So one of the leaders of that group, Becca Shea, got us together into an accountability group. So Steven put this together and I just made it better.
That's awesome.
No new ideas. You copy from everybody, but then you put your own spin on it. So I'm gonna make this link available. Copy it. Just make a copy of it. You're not gonna be able to edit what I have, but you can make a copy of it in Google, use it yourself, copy it as much as you want, take credit for it. As long as it helps you, I'm good.
Yeah, well, that's awesome because even if you don't make it to 100%, you don't, clear the goal, to be able to look back and say, well, it's not like I was 0% there.
Mm-hmm. And now you know why you didn't make it to the goal, or better yet, you know why you did, because you put in all the work. And there's something to be said, like to have that, like that kind of like, yay, look at what I did. I got 100%, or I got like 80%. I don't think I ever got 100% week, but I got up to 80%, or I got 70%, or this wasn't the best week. I got 42. It's always good. And we all live our life by the numbers if we do real estate. So why don't we live our lives by the numbers when it comes to our own lives? Because we run our businesses by numbers. So, and we have businesses that are doing really well. So transpose that into your life and ta-da. Again, I'm not a numbers person. I don't really like following this. I actually don't like it, but I've made myself enjoy seeing the process and enjoy the process of all of this because it's helped tremendously. I don't know what, I'd be a mess without this stuff.
Yeah, well, that's been one of the hard things for me is like when I resigned, I lost that structure. And so creating a structure has been really difficult. And I realized that like I can do an entire day's of work in the afternoon in a couple of hours if I just do it. Mm-hmm. And so then I really don't want to set a schedule. And I find myself, and especially during all this COVID stuff, it was like I found myself sleeping later. There was a point in time where Jason was like, please don't sleep all day. Can you try not to sleep all day? Because I was just so down and I just wanted to sleep all day. And so I was drinking more, I was sleeping more, I was sleeping late, and I just watched everything just spiral away from me. So that's kind of what led to this, because I know I'm not the only one out there going through this, and I never want someone to feel alone. Mm-mm. So that's why I tend to live kind of like as an open book, just because I never want someone to feel like they're going through something all alone, because I feel like that's one of the things that causes such a high suicide rate. Yeah. Is people feel that they're all alone. And if people would be more open about just all the crap they're going through, other people could grasp a hold of that and be like, man, I'm not alone. And
you just made a ton of women and men and everybody feel so much better about themselves right now, because they need to know that they're not alone. If anybody follows me here, I quit drinking. Not that I was like drunk every night. I had 3 children and consecutively in 6 years, and I hadn't had like regular drinks since like 2014, and I started drinking regularly. I had a glass of wine or a half glass of wine at the end of the night for the past like almost 2 months, and I started craving it. Like it'd be like 2:00. I'd be like, can I have my glass right now? Can I? No. No, okay, that bad. So I had to stop about a week ago. I stopped because I was just like, I just can't. And I'm a former bartender. So it's like, nope, no more. Can't do it.
Well, honestly, reading that post of yours where you said, I had to quit because I was using it as a crutch, I was like, holy crap. And so I didn't drink Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday this week because I was like, I'm using this as a crutch. I've got to stop. And it made it easier to get up in the morning and take care of breakfast for the kids. And the slow cooker is like the most amazing invention ever. This is my second time to use it for like a real meal. I've always had one. It's always sat in the cabinet and under the table. But I've actually like really started using it and like loving it. And so I didn't want this to turn into some like girl show, but it was like, that was a big deal to me to be able to say, I've already got supper done.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
it's huge.
So, I mean, that kind of takes me, one of the things that Sandra was saying, because I took notes on everything she sent me, was she was like, you have to at least take care of the little things, because it was that, the picture she posted. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Where she said, nothing is so fatiguing as the eternal hanging on of an incomplete task.
Yes.
I call
So
that the endless loop. It's like it keeps going back and forth in your head and you can't close it. I call it closing the loops. I'm sure I got it from some book a long time ago, but I agree. The endless task. Got to close those loops.
I like that though, closing the loop. I'm like taking notes here. Y'all are like helping me.
All right. So I'm going to give my little sesh. So I write everything down, and I know in this day and age, everybody is all electronic, and the apps that we have to organize our lives are amazing and wonderful. I use Trello, I use calendars, I use a ton of the electronic stuff, but I'm still old school in that I like writing everything down. I'm a big planner. I like to go back and plan all the way back and then break it down like more actionable items. I don't know. I have to, same thing with her. Like I've got 2 little kids, but they're kind of in between. Like hers are 5, 3, and 1, and mine are 2 and 3, almost 4.
Play date.
So my life has like, I do a lot of compartmentalization. Like my life has big compartments, and each one is very important. Me as a mom is really number 1. And so I've got my babies and I've got to take care of them. They outgrow clothes every other month, and I always get them new shoes. There's always diapers and all of that. And then basically running a house is like kind of like running a little business on its own, the inventory and everything. And then I've got my own business, and within my business, I have compartments or maybe departments, like you might call it departments. But for me, my business and my home overlap so much that I just basically treat them the same. It's like my rentals, my flips, my health, my home, and they're all compartments, and they all have a to-do list with their own prioritizations inside of it. And I have to balance all of that with my 24 hours a day. We all have 24 hours. That's it. How do you balance that while getting enough sleep, bathing, taking care of everything else that you need to take care of just as a person, anything that you want to do for yourself? Then you have all of these kids and pets and, partners to take care of. So for me, my attention is constant. I live in chaos, like just straight chaos all the time. Totally cool with it. I mean, A-okay with it, because I'm so used to it. I mean, the only reason we don't have screaming right now is because they're at daycare, and I planned that. I planned to take this call and leave them in daycare an hour extra than I normally would, or else it would be chaos. But for me, it's really easy to be defeated whenever things are abnormal. You're not like, whenever things aren't like going really well. It's kind of like a baby will cry unless, if it's nice to have, I don't know how to explain it. Whenever things aren't going perfectly, it's easy for the motivation to get lost. That's what I'm trying to say. And so sometimes we wait for like the weather to be nice to go for a run, or for the motivation to be there to get something done, or I'll do the dishes whenever this goes in play. You don't have to feel a certain way to do something. That's where the plan comes into play for me, is I write it down, and it doesn't matter how I feel. It's there, it's written down, and I'm going to do it rain or shine, no matter what my motivation level is. or who's screaming or anything. I just have to constantly redirect my focus back to whatever's on my plan.
One thing I do when I'm really down, there are some days when my task list is long, but it's a COVID day and I had depressing news for whatever reason, and it just got me down and I just couldn't get myself out of that mode to be productive. So I ended up doing the phone a friend. I actually phoned 2 different friends and said, I actually need to speak to you, not actually text you, but actually have a conversation, maybe even FaceTime you. And I need to get out of this, little Debbie Downer kind of mood I'm in. So please, I need this. And I sent it first as a text, but I did that to 2 different friends and they really helped me through it. They're like, you always pull us up. You're always so positive and lifting. So what's getting you down? Again, we're going to give you back the same lesson you gave us, which is worry about the things you can control. You cannot control when things are going to open back up or if things would ever be the way they used to be. But there are a million things you can still do while you're in your COVID mode. So, if the weather is great, go enjoy the outdoors, enjoy nature, see if that helps you get a perspective on life. Or, even watch something about the ocean or some beautiful scenery, or go back and look at your old vacation pictures and remember that that's still out there. Something to cheer you up, lift you up. Maybe that's good music, whatever that might be. And give yourself 30 minutes or so to be down, but that's it. At the end of that 30 minutes, I'm going to go do something specific. And then I had that friend be my accountability partner. So she checked on me a few hours later, said, did you get this done that you said you would do? So that really helped me. So phone a friend is something you could use, especially in this COVID time. And if you don't have a friend, post it somewhere, send me a message. I'll be your accountability partner for a day or 2 if that helps you out, Sometimes we need help and we need other people to help us, and that's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, today I'm not as productive or as capable as I normally am, so I need someone to lift me up, and it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah,
I'm going to jump on something that Jackie said. Sorry, I just want to, before I lose my train of thought, which happens a lot, and then I'll start tangenting and then I'm going to just forget. I might have just forgot it. No, I didn't. So you said something about there's never a perfect time. And there really isn't. There really isn't a perfect time to start exercising again. A perfect time to go outside for a walk. A perfect time to do all these things that you want to do. A perfect time to start a summit. Angel. A perfect time to have a Facebook Live like this. A perfect time. You get what I'm saying. So if there's something you want to do, then go do it. My husband just finished doing this crazy race, or again, basically against himself, where he ran, for the first day he ran 1 mile, second day he ran 2 miles, fifth day he ran 5. Yesterday he ran 30 miles, and it was raining so hard it was practically hailing, and he ran past this other runner, and they were just basically beautiful day for a run. But that's the mindset. So you just get out there and you do it. You want to go exercise. I don't suggest running in hail, but if you want to go exercise, just go do it. If you have that thought and your kids are taken care of, just go outside and do it. If it's a beautiful day and you can take your kids outside, just go outside and teach your kids how to do squats. Just get outside and just do it. Make the choice. I think that's my biggest mantra during this time. It's kind of always been my mantra. Just make the choice. Choose to be happy. And choose to make those decisions that are going to make you happy. For instance, Angel, you did your hair, you did your makeup. I need to take some makeup tips because all I do is eyeliner. Because that's all I have the time or the brain power to do. But that makes you happy. So do those things that make you happy and that are going to take you to that level of productivity that you want to be at. Because the reason why I think that you're sad is because you're holding yourself at a level that you see that you want to be at, but you know that you're not at. Whereas where you're at right now could be where your happiness level just needs to be. Maybe you needed to take that time where you're just I'm just going to be in bed. I don't feel like it. But then you can make the choice right now. Of course, you kind of did because you invited us all here. And of course, we're now your accountability partners because we're all going to be calling you and being like, Angel, Angel, Are you
Are
okay?
you out of bed yet?
No.
Where's your
We're
task
not gonna
list?
go there. But that's the thing, like you can make the choice. And I'm gonna say this because it needs to be said. If anyone out there that's listening to this is at that point where you are so depressed that you are having those really, really, really bad thoughts, you need to speak to a professional. I don't know of any, but I know there are those out there, and I'm sure one of us can like go and research this for you if you want. Maybe we can leave a link of some free people that you can talk to. But if you're having those really bad thoughts, you need to call somebody right now. Like even we're on Facebook right now, message one of us and we'll find something for you. There's so many people that you can reach out to. There's a world of people, but look for those people who are positive. Look for the positivity. I mean, that's the work that I'm going to ask everyone to do here that's listening. Look for that positivity, because that's what's going to bring you out of that negative space that you might be in.
Yeah, that's really powerful. I think that there's so much stigma attached to needing help that people are afraid to ask for it. I mean, that's the one thing I remember about being on your podcast is you're like, can you tell people it's okay to ask for help? Like, absolutely.
Yes.
Because well, I asked for help. I wouldn't have reached out to y'all if I wasn't going to ask for help. And this is one of the things I say in my classrooms is I tell my students, I'm like, ask the questions. Because when you ask it, if you have it, so does somebody else. They just don't have the guts to ask it. Mm-hmm. So ask it. So that I knew that by putting this out there, it gives other people who have that same problem some hope. And it lets them know they're not alone too, because there's got to be plenty of people out there that are just floating along. But I will kind of come back and reiterate too. It was thinking about my day the night before has been tremendous for me. Good. Because I mean, I guess I've kind of done it. Like I'd set my clothes out for the next day.
That's huge.
That was the extent of it.
Wow. I'm used to the night before. I usually plan my day out in at least hourly increments. If I'm pretty organized, it's within 15 minutes or 30-minute increments. I mean, I like plan out breaks and everything, but I enjoy it. And I think some people just don't enjoy it. Like I've always made lists. I've always loved to plan. And I also really love business. And so even my personal stuff has like a mission statement and a vision and all of that. And so I have business plans for each thing. I think that's what you need to do. I think you need to stop and you need to go way back, because it all starts with why, right? Why are you doing this? Like you're sitting there, it's the coronavirus, everything is crazy, and everyone just feels like they're lost in space right now. But you need to start with why, whenever things were normal, why were you doing any of it anyways? And for me, my mission is helping and serving others. And I have a defined, path that I plan on doing that. And I go back to my mission and my vision. And then I have certain goals. You should write down 10-year goals, which are kind of, lofty dreamer goals, but you should have some pretty concrete 5-year, 3-year, 1-year, quarter goals. Break those down into monthly, weekly. I mean, I know it sounds extreme, and if you don't enjoy it, it's probably pretty tedious. I do enjoy it. I love it. I look forward to December 31st every year, just so I can get my financial statements to the penny, at the end of that specific year. But, you got to rock and roll with your personality type too. For me, I do not do well with chaos and insanity and routines getting messed up. I like routines. I like military style routines. Mm-hmm. And having kids for me really messed with me because, as she knows, routines go out the window. And so I had to force it back into my life somehow. If you have a reason why you're getting out of bed in the morning, and a reason why you're doing everything that you're doing anyways, it makes it easy to stop the world spinning so fast, sit down and be like, what am I doing this for in the first place? Go back to your plan, go back to your plan of action, see what you are and what you're doing. And I'm a big believer in having a plan of action. And work and play is a very delicate thing. You can't do all of either. And I think you should give play as much attention as you give work. When you're working, be working. When you're playing, be playing, and be able to turn it off. The way I do that is I have 2 phones. So I have a personal phone and I have a work phone.
Oh.
And I have more than 10 phone lines, but I'm at least able to somewhat, because our phones are so personal now, you know, I want to be on Facebook with my mom on speakerphone, but I don't want also leads coming in and emails and all that stuff. So because I'm in real estate and I'm full-time real estate, and I always have been for 10 years, there's no off switch in this business. And so I have to make my own off switch, and I have to make my own boundaries and lines. I think also in this right now, you know, everybody was kind of getting into the gym and getting into their schedules, and the coronavirus hit and everything went crazy and haywire with our own diets and exercise. And I think that's really affecting everybody's energy levels. Besides the fact that all you see on the news is some sort of apocalypse. So you just have to ride it out, you know, ride out your natural energy levels. We all know what it's going to take. We all know water, sunlight, walks outside, calls with loved ones, chocolate, good music. We all know what it takes to, you know, manipulate our moods when we need to. You just have to have that willpower to do it, you know?
Yeah, it's tough. And like, I kind of, thinking back to something you said, you were saying that, it's hard to, you know, set those boundaries, because this is one of those businesses where, you know, it's literally 24/7. It is.
And the to-do list never ends. You're not like, that's it.
You know, it's like you always have to be on. And so like, I should have done it at the beginning, but just so everybody who is watching or will be watching knows, all of us are in real estate. Let's see, Pili, you have it's the Multifamily Foundation.
We have Jason and I, my husband, are multifamily syndicators and operators. We have about 800 units, and we have our platform is the Jason Pili Project, and under that we have the Multifamily Foundation and Mothers of Multifamily, which you, Angel, and you, Sandhya, are both a part of.
Ooh, I want to be a part of that.
Yes, you have to get on the show first, though.
Oh, cool. Okay.
That's the kicker.
Okay.
Yeah. So she'll have to send you the stuff so you can sign up to be on it.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, and Sandhya, I didn't know that like you were an investor across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So-
was kind of neat to find out.
Yeah, the stock market took care of me when I had kids. My kids are older, so they're 18 and 12. So I have a senior, and she keeps me on focus because I know in a few months she will leave the nest and go off to college. So every moment with her is precious. That really helps me stay focused. So before she wakes up, because teens wake up pretty late, I try to get all of my business stuff done. And so that if she's awake, I want to catch every one of those moments before she goes off to, you know, her lovely social media world with her friends, etc. But yes, I used to work on, I'm an electrical engineer by profession. And so I had a job with a Fortune 500 company. But once I had my kids, I felt like I was missing out on them. And I also had a business education. So I was in the stock market. And 2 years ago, I got into real estate and focused exclusively on multifamily for the tax savings. And also because it allowed me a balance of work and life without having to self-manage properties, because I felt like single family would be too heavy on that. And I wanted a property management company. So I had to scale up to at least 80 plus units to afford property management. So I've syndicated 2 deals so far with partners, and I have passively invested in like over 15, 16 properties. So in the tune of 3,000 doors total. But it helps me have a balance of work life, which is a big one for me. I don't want to be so consumed by it, just like the corporate world did, that I wouldn't have time for my family, which is a much higher priority for me right now than purely feeling the intellectual satisfaction of an exciting job.
Jacqueline, you were saying you have 2 phones. That's kind of a cool idea. I have a really hard time making lines and boundaries, because I'll be on the phone texting people at 10 p.m., 11 p.m. because we got excited about something, and then I won't want to wake up at 7.
It was kind of an accident because I wasn't really planning on it. I'd done it before and I really loved it when I did it before, but I wasn't really planning on it. But when I went into Verizon, they had some like buy one, get one free thing. And so, and I was paying 10 or 20 bucks a month for Sideline for this other number that I had for years and years. And that number was on all kinds of signs and everything. So I was like, well, I mean, it's like 20 bucks a month for a line. I'm already paying it over here. The phone's free. Easy decision. Cool. My husband and I flip houses full time. He's sitting behind me, if you can see. And we've got some rentals. I've been in real estate for around 10 years, and I always, maybe more. I mean, I'm 33, and I knew I wanted to become a real estate investor when I was 15, and I basically just geared my whole life that way. So the last 3-4 years while we had the babies, we got started flipping houses, buying rentals. He quit his job as an engineer in oil and gas to flip houses full time with me last year. We've got 6 rentals, and I didn't learn about multifamily until about a year ago. And when I learned about, it just seemed like this, you know, majestic, untouchable creature. And I remember driving by just being like, I can't wait, someday I'm going to own those. And then when I learned about syndication, I mean, I have been educating myself on multifamily hardcore for a year. So I'm actually trying to sell off some of our smaller rentals. There's like 3 houses I want to keep. Everything else I want to sell, and I'm going like full steam into multifamily, but still flipping houses for our job.
Yeah, but even getting into small multifamily, like we've got 3 single families, and we will never buy another single family home unless it absolutely falls in our laps, because we have managers for them, but you pay 10% of the rent in management fees if you don't want to touch
my own, which is even worse, actually.
Well, my family self-managed, and I was like, I will never self-manage ever, because I watched my grandparents just, it was so hard.
I've been a property manager multiple times over. My mom has a portfolio of about 40 houses. And so my plan was always to get going on my own portfolio and then hire somebody to be an assistant, coach them into property management, grow my portfolio as I grow that person, and have in-house property management. But it's a lot of trial and error in this industry. I hired a gal, she didn't work out, back to square one.
Yeah, well, and you and Pili, I think, have something in common, because y'all are both, you started out as realtors, right?
Mm-hmm. I still have my license.
Okay.
Yeah,
Actually,
I'll always be licensed, I'm sure.
I see no reason to let it go. I actually just had a closing. I actually told, these are good friends of mine, and I told them, I gave them like 3 names of like top notch. I mean, like top of the line, billion-dollar agents. And they're like, no, we want to use you. I'm like, you realize that I do large multifamily. I have my real estate license just to keep my eye on the New Jersey market. And I ended up selling their house during this COVID time, over asking, and like within 12 days. I was like, wow, I can still do it.
Yeah. So I
have my real estate license, and it's for the realtors out there. I mean, like you said, Jackie, it doesn't stop unless you want it. If you're gonna really do it, and I talked to one of those billion-dollar agents last night on my podcast. If you're gonna really do it, you gotta get up, you gotta have a schedule, you have to have systems. If you really, and I shouldn't be doing this, but I actually implore everybody that's watching this, if you really want to get ahead, if you want to be one of those people that really got ahead in 2008, 2009, because they were watching and they were looking and they were listening for those opportunities that are going to come to only those people. I mean, there's going to be a few that's going to slap them in the face, sure. But most of us are going to have our hands on the pulse of everything, so we know what buttons to push when the opportunities start landing, and they're going to start if they haven't already. You have to keep your eyes open, and you have to keep positive, and you have to stay out there. And like Jackie said, it's 24/7. You have to keep your eyes open all the time if you want to be one of those people that charges ahead of all the rest.
That's a good point, actually, about the 24/7. I think a lot of people plan out like priorities or a few hours in their day, but you have 24 hours in your day, and you should actually plan all of them. That way, you're planning what you're getting enough sleep, you know, whatever things you need to do between, you know, any house stuff, anything between sleep and your job. It gives me peace to plan out, because whenever I feel lost, and I can just be like, okay, put on my Beats headphones. Okay, I can't hear the screaming. What am I doing? Refocus. This is what I'm doing. I gotta reply to this email. I mean, there's times it might take me 6 hours to send an email, because I'll sit down, I'll type out screaming, you know, type out a little more, get them situated. Somebody broke their nose on the coffee table, type out a little more. But you know,
It's true.
You just power through it.
Well, and that's what my health and fitness team has said the exact same things. They're like, sleep is so important. Like, you're not getting enough sleep. And there's so many busy like entrepreneurs and professionals that think that it's okay to get by on 4 hours of sleep. And so our bodies start to program to sort of operate on that lack of sleep. And then you build up your cortisol levels, and you can't lose weight, and your hormone levels are all over the place. That's where I'm sitting. And I was to a point where I thought 4 or 5 hours of sleep, that's awesome. That's all I need. And so the biggest thing for me, especially during all of this, has been, Angel, freaking go to sleep. Like last night I couldn't sleep. So I went out to the living room, and I wake up at like 3 a.m, and I'm sitting in front of the Food Network, and I'm like, what am I doing? I mean, I had fallen asleep at some point, but I wake up at 3:30. It was 3:17. I looked at the clock. I'm like, what am I doing? I am setting myself up for failure. And so I think another just big takeaway from all this is, make sure you're setting yourself up for success. And I'm discovering that really is about planning your day before it happens. And I think
I lay out all of my like running clothes, everything that I'm going to need to wake up, get dressed in the dark, and go for a run. Because waking up to go for a run in the dark sucks anyways. But to have to do all that and try to find all your clothes while everybody's sleeping, like, I promise, it is all about setting yourself up for success so you can thank your past self.
Yep. I actually usually go to sleep in my running clothes.
Nice.
Or my workout clothes. You know,
Nice.
sans sports bra, because that would just be uncomfortable. No, I mean, that's, like you said, that's the way you have to set yourself up for success. And I'm gonna, you know, I suffer from insomnia every so often, and especially with everything that was happening, I was just like, why am I feeling so anxious? Why this anxiety all the time? Because really, I mean, besides the homeschooling and kind of the fear that my kids might get sick, but we've been pretty good about, like really good about staying in quarantine, because my middle child has asthma. So we've been really, really, really good. I really haven't left the house in 2 months. Like, I can't. So my running and getting out into the world and all that is a must for me. I have to get out and get out by myself at least once a day. I have to, even if it's just for a walk. If it's for a run, even better. But if you are going to have insomnia, and you are going to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and if you can't get yourself back to sleep, I implore you, try and get back to sleep. But if you can't, don't turn on the TV. Don't watch Food Network. Make content. Take that time and make content, even if you don't want to, even if it's just you, like, even if you go on live. Next time you get up, okay, Angel, this is what you're going to do. Next time you get up, I don't care how you look. I don't care if you have rollers in your hair. I don't care if your hair is like this and you have bedhead. Get up, get to a lidded, like, I know you have one of those lights. Put your light on, get your phone, put it in front of your face, turn on live, and be like, I can't sleep. And see what happens. See what comes out of your mouth. Like, you need to be making content all the time. And what a perfect time to be like, I can't sleep. Who else is up? Somebody talk to me. I can't sleep. I have this idea in my head. What if we did this? How about this thing? How about, this is the thought I'm having about COVID. This is, like, use the time productively. I mean, I'm going to take my own advice, and next time I can't sleep, I'm just going to turn on my phone and go live. I normally make pieces of content that aren't so, like, my hair's all over the place, but, you know, that's just maybe that'll give you the what's
The impetus to go back to sleep.
Yeah. You're like, oh, Pili said I have to go live if I don't go to sleep. Maybe I'll just go back to sleep.
Well, I was trying like meditation, because that was another trick that my health coaches give me was, try some meditation, try some breathing, try something to help you focus back in on the fact that you need to go to sleep. And so that was one of the things I was trying, and it worked for a little bit. And then I don't know if I lost focus on it or if it lost its glamour. I don't know, but it's
choice you have to make though.
You just need to be worn out. And that's it. Wake up super early and go work out. I mean, if you can't sleep the night before, you should punish yourself the next day by, forget your insomnia. You're up at 3. Good. Now you're up at 3. Stay up. Go for a run. Work out. The next night, you might not have so much trouble.
Well, I was, we're kind of getting away from it, but like one of the priorities that I have is that I want to, I'm an economist by degree. And I wanted to like start reading articles and like giving them like my interpretation. And what I find is that I'm so nervous about making people think I don't know what I'm talking about, or that people read it and they're like, she's an idiot, that I put it off. And I allow it to fall down on my list of priorities because I'm afraid to do it. And so that's another one of the things I'm kind of thinking about is like, how do I prioritize that? How do I prioritize my time to make that happen? And as I float through this period, I'm like, oh, well, I'm not going to do it. I'll do it later.
Have you considered having 1 or 2 friends who you think are good economists who could check your work for you quickly in 30 minutes or something and say, this sounds good, Angel, you should, put this on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever you want to publish it. But have 1 or 2 people who you say, okay, this week, before the end of this week, I'm going to send you 2 articles that I think are relevant on this topic. And I'd like you to critique it and tell me if it makes sense to you. And then give yourself that accountability as well with those people, whoever they are. But don't pick more than 1 or 2 people. And who are your friends and who are not going to be envious of you for thinking of it first. There's that too. So people who advocate for you, who will help you, who are rooting for your success. I mean, if I knew if I was a good economist, I would say, send it to me, but I'm not. I can help you with underwriting a deal or something, but not, critique you on an article about the current state of the economy or predicting the future for that matter. But there's probably 1 or 2 friends in your network who would help you do that. And who would do that quickly. So, but before the end of next week, so same time next Friday, I want to see at least 1 publication from you. And whether it's a small article, it could just be 2 paragraphs. I want to hear from you next Friday. So today you're going to identify the friend who's going to help you just look over the article real quick. And you're going to share it with them on a link, and then you're going to remove it. So, and so by Monday or Tuesday, ideally you want it to be out. So there you go.
And my homework for you, we're all going to give her homework now.
Oh my God, no.
If I see you up and I'm in New Jersey, so I'm Eastern time. So if I see that you're up and I see you online, I'm going to invite you to a live, or I'm going to get you on, or I'm going to start trolling you on Facebook. But my homework for you is to, every time you can't sleep, use that time to make a piece of content. It doesn't even have to be live, even if it's just you go onto Canva or into one of those things and you make some, like a quote or anything. You make a piece of content and you use that time wisely, or better yet, just go to sleep. I want to see more content coming out of you. Let's see. Let's go with 3 more pieces of content: 1 live, 1 quote, and 1. And I'm gonna go with the Economist publication. That's gonna be part of my 3. So you have to get a publication out for me too.
My homework is the next time you have insomnia,
We're awesome accountability partners.
get up. And you have to get up. Next time you have insomnia, you can't sleep. You've tried your 5, 7, 8 breathing treatment. You've relaxed your body from head to toe. You've done your grateful exercises. You still can't sleep. Just get up and start your day. Looks like your day's starting at 2 a.m. Looks like your day's starting at 1:45. Wake up, make a cup of coffee, do some stretches, do some yoga, get a workout in, wear yourself out. Like, have you ever had like a really exhausting day, or like maybe you were a kid and you went to Disneyland and like that night you were like, I want nothing more than to lay down. You got to wear yourself out. I really think that our lives are so easy now that we suffer from insomnia just because we like straight up got the wiggles. You know what I mean? Like, we're stuck in our houses. Like, we don't even have to move. Like, you got to move a thumb. That's it. So you got to wear yourself out. Like, we're not, sowing any crops here or farming any fields or running after cattle or anything. Like, we're moving from the couch to the toilet to the kitchen. So my rule is you're not tired, you can't sleep, just get up, start your day, make it a killer day, like tear that day to shreds, and then go to sleep early the next night. Do the right thing, do a good bedtime routine, lights off, cool the house down, start winding down for bed 2 hours before. And then my other homework for you is going to be to read this book, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. If you haven't read that one yet, highly recommend it on Audible, because he actually reads the book himself, and they do kind of a mixed media format where it's combination reading the book and like a podcast sort of. But I went to military school for high school. I come from New Mexico. I'm used to having to work my tail off to make things work. And so for me, the coronavirus has been like a vacation. Like my life hasn't changed a whole lot because I still kind of run things the way that I do. But it's been nice because the rest of the world has stopped. Like kind of a strange blessing in disguise, an ability for me to, sit back down and look around again, see if I'm doing what I want to be doing.
I'm going to jump on what Jackie just said there. I'm treating this time, pandemic aside, as a blessing. That's what I choose to see this time as. I choose to see it as a blessing. I get to be with my kids. I get to stay at home. I get to revise things. I get to do all these things that maybe I couldn't have done if this hadn't happened. So maybe it's just changing your mindset.
That's really for me as a mom of a senior to have this extra time with her, instead of this being the busiest time of the year, or otherwise end of year, this, and then before we know it, boom, it's summer and then getting ready for college. So I love the slowdown. And yes, I'm really sorry about the pandemic and the loss of lives because of it. But this has forced us to be home, be better cooks, organize things in so many different ways. So being healthy is the biggest blessing in the world. So if your friends and family are healthy, there's nothing more you could ask for in life in that sense.
Yeah, well, that's kind of feeding off of that. I asked my 12-year-old, because the big thing we've been trying to do is just stay calm. Don't run to the store and buy $15 million worth of groceries. Don't buy 5 million rolls of toilet paper. Now that they're saying there's going to be a food shortage, don't go out and buy 50 pounds of meat, because that causes the shortage. But it's like just being calm and maintaining as much as we can. I asked my 12-year-old, I was like, what's been your best memory of this whole time? And she was like, you've been cooking more. We've been eating together. We've been hanging out. And she's 12. I mean, she shouldn't be saying that kind of stuff. Because like I taught middle school, and when I think about 12-year-olds, that's one of the farthest things from my mind. And one of the last things I hear from those kids is that they enjoyed being home and eating meals with their family. So that's been kind of neat to come out of this. And the other thing too is like, I would have never done stuff like this if I hadn't just done it. So getting the courage to go on a podcast, or go on something go on to a online meetup and meet up with people. And I can talk to people all day long face to face, but getting on something that was going to be recorded, that would be there forever and ever, always, that's scary. Like, what if I accidentally pick my nose, or it would be really scary.
Edit it.
I don't know how to edit, so it's all about start stop for me.
You get somebody to edit it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did learn how to, like, I made that little thing all by myself, the little ad for our event. So
Nice.
Awesome.
there's a few things I can do.
Yay.
But
So, do you have enough actions for in a week's time
Because
to?
you know we can give you
do.
more.
oh, I know. I am confident that you can give me plenty.
And ideas to put some structure into your day, like, I love Pili's calendar. I love. Do I call you Jackie? Is that good?
Yeah, just Jackie's fine.
Jackie's ideas were excellent. How she's so much into being a scheduler. I used to be like that too. And once kids happened, yeah, it became even a greater necessity to block times. So, do you have enough ideas, Angel?
Well,
to
I
go-
do. And like, see, I've always had a to-do list,
Mhm.
but I would just do it all in a couple hours in the afternoon. And by waking up earlier and taking care of things that I thought of the night before to make the day easier, I'm probably starting my day about 9, but I'm getting up way before then. But I'm finishing the things like getting supper started or getting breakfast for the kids, all the little things that I need to set up the day for success. I'm getting those done. And then I'm sitting down on the real estate side of things, or like with the educational side of things, around 9 a.m. And so that seems to be kind of a sweet spot. Now I just need to know when to shut it off.
Schedule it. That's what I do.
know.
Schedule
I-
play. And then
I
like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. If you've got, this is when I relax, decompress, and it's not a work mode, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Because right here on my schedule, it says this is my R&R time. This is when I play. And so I don't feel guilty for, people that can't get a hold of me or something when I'm actually in my scheduled mandatory fun mode.
Well, I mean, one of the
Mandatory
things
times
that
are important.
Yeah, one of the things that Sandra suggested too, she's like, okay, so you get sucked into Facebook and you realize that you went 30 minutes over or an hour over.
Now that is dangerous. So earlier you said, can you message me a headshot? And I saw it on my phone, but I knew I had a headshot on my laptop.
Well, I had already taken the one from Facebook and made one for you. I was just waiting for a
I
replacement.
opened it up real quick, and before I knew it, I'd scrolled Facebook for 15 minutes. And I was like, what am I even doing? And then I was like, I got up and I was like, oh yeah, the whole reason I sat down was to send you that headshot. And like, I had groceries sitting there and I'm just like, just scrolling Facebook.
Yeah, but what she did say was like, if you do that, just extend your day. You'll only do it a few times before you quit doing it.
Yeah, right.
I set up a reminder on my Facebook, and at first I gave myself only 60 minutes of Facebook time, and that happened very quickly. So now I allow myself 2 hours, but at least 30 minutes of that has to be business-based Facebook, not just random scrolling or posting pictures of my senior or things like that. It's like, you got to do something actually related to your business and be able to say what that is. Otherwise, no free Facebook time till 8 p.m. So 8 to 10 p.m. is my I could be scrolling with my phone and hanging out with my kids if they wanted to watch a movie. So before 8 p.m., I don't get 2 hours. It's only after 8 p.m. that I get the 2 hours.
Yeah, but if you hadn't
So
posted
it's a little
pictures, we
rude.
wouldn't have seen that beautiful dress. So, which if you didn't see her daughter's beautiful blue dress, holy night, absolutely stunning.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
I went to that designer site after you said, oh, well, it's a whoever designer. And I was like, who? And so I went onto the site and I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's a Sherry Hill. So they are famous for their prom and Hoko kind of dresses. So things y'all moms with little kids don't have to worry about just yet, but it's coming one day. You have girls.
Don't want to think about prom or graduation yet.
It's far, far away for you. Over a decade.
Yeah, well, I just want to thank y'all for getting on, and hopefully when this gets out on the recording and when we put it out in a few different places, it'll help a lot of people, because my thoughts were is if we can help people out during this time, they can take that and use it during normal times and 10x it, which, sorry for people that hate Grant Cardone right now, he's still an amazing salesman. And there's things that are in his books that I will always hold on to, because if you aren't making your goals and you start watering down your goals, you're only ever going to meet that watered down goal. If you leave those goals 10x, you're more likely to get close to it. And even if you don't get close to it, you still got higher than you would have with a watered down goal. So those are just kind of my Cardonisms that I've adopted, even though people think he's not so great right now. But anyway, those are just kind of some of the things that I hang on to. I had that 12-week year. Another book that, or a few more books that have been suggested just to have them on here, is The Miracle Morning.
Yes.
This is supposed to be an amazing book to start your day. My husband's read it. I have not. There is Atomic Habits.
That was the book I was thinking about. That's the one I'm reading.
Yeah, this is the one that Sandra Benanate, when she sent me a bunch of ideas, she sent me that one too. And Megan, my health coach, was talking about it too, and she says it talks about habit stacking. I own a lot of books. I have not read them all. And then there's also, my husband read this one, The Time Cleanse. Again, I haven't read it yet, but I did read the one that takes all the hours of the week and adds them all up. It was like, I don't even know how many. Now I have to figure it out. But the title of the book was like, there's so many hours in every week. And
so the thing is with books, like I am an advocate of reading and reading a lot. But you have to pick those and you have to implement. You have to implement. So Miracle Morning, I try and get to that every single morning. And if I can't do a full thing, I do at least 6 minutes of everything. It's the Savers. That's another thing that, I mean, it's called the Savers. So it's life-saving. So definitely read that. I think if you jump into that, that'll really, really help you.
Yeah, probably. But the other book I read it's 168 hours. It's like there's 168 hours every week. And the thing that it brought home for me is that everybody has 168 hours. How are you going to spend them? And it helped me see that when I was going to people, especially in academia, and I was like, hey, I want to write this article. Would you like to help me co-author? And they'd be like, oh, I don't have time. So people that say I don't have time, it's not that they don't have time. It's that it isn't a priority to them. Mm-hmm. And so whenever somebody would say, I don't have time, I'm like, why don't you just tell me you don't think it's that great of an idea? And then they'd get angry. And I was like, I'm not upset. Just, I need to know if I should move on or if I need to follow up with you. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was a time saver. But yeah, there's so many great books. And like you said, I mean, you have to be willing to read them and implement them. And that was kind of another idea I had. I'm not going to like spew it out here, but I think that there's a lot of, like with your scorecard, there's a lot of little tools that could be made for so many different books to help people really be able to implement the pieces that are in those, the gold nuggets that are in those books. So maybe that'll be my content task. It'll make me actually read them. But
well, thank you so much for having me, Angel. I have to run. I have a
we're like 3 minutes over. Sorry.
Babies too. Nice to talk to you girls, though.
Thank you all so much. Sorry we went over, but have a great day and hope to see you next week when we talk about financing owner structured notes. No, structuring owner finance notes. That's what it is.
So grateful, right. Angel.
Thank you.
Everybody have a great day and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good one. Happy weekend.
You too.